You know, I remember during my 2.2 live stream playthrough of the story of Wuthering Waves, my chat was like, "Smack, the ending's peak. The story's so good. It's cinema. It's better than 2.0." And I responded, "All right, let's relax. All right, let's simmer down. You got strong recency bias occurring right now. There's no shot that story was better than 2.0. 2.0 was cinema." But, you know, I gotta admit, as I was progressing through the story, I found myself slowly but surely doubting that response. Welcome back to another video by yours truly, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gacha Smack's 2.2 story review. There will be spoilers because I don't like to explain certain experiences, feelings, and sentiments that I have without being able to reference them as tangible evidence inside of the story. We'll also be going over a number of elements that I deemed compelling or impressionable. So buckle up. We got a banger. Let's go ahead and get into it. LDshop.gg is back at it again, trying to save you some money on the purchases you are already planning to make for these mobile games, such as HSR, Zenless Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, AFK Journey, PUBG Mobile. You name it, they probably got the discount for you. Let's go ahead and look at what they have on the menu for this month. Here at the main page of LDshop.gg, this is where you're going to browse the mobile game of interest, PUBG, Marvel Rivals, HSR, Zenless Zone Zero, whatever it is. You're going to click on that mobile game and you're going to browse what they are offering. My Day's right around the corner. You could come down here and then grab that $100 purchase that you would make inside of the game and instead pay $81.70 and save yourself $18.29. The way it works is quite simple. You put in your server, you put in your game UID, and then you would click top up. What it would do is it would take you to this bad boy right here. You would confirm your order, put in your payment method, and then boom, it'll go through. Now you want to make sure that you're putting in the right game UID. You don't want to go sending this to somebody else now, okay? But yes, it is very safe. It is very reliable. In fact, they use the exact same digital currency as Hoyoverse, which is Razer Gold. This is also the same LD group as LD Emulator, which is a third-party platform used by many people around the world to play mobile games that may not be accessible on PC. Another thing I like about this website is that it actually tells you a step-by-step process of the payment hitting your account. And once that says complete, you go in there and you check, boom, GG's. Now, there's one more thing I want to mention. It's worth joining their Discord because if you're planning to spend over 80 bucks, you can become a VIP member of this website, to which they then grant you a free monthly login pass, as well as a bundle of coupon codes that you can use in the future. Also, if you've never topped up before in the gacha games where you're trying to get that double top-up bonus, it also works on this website as well. If you're a newcomer to this website, which means you've never used it before, you'll get a 10% additional coupon to utilize. Lastly, if you have any type of customer service issues, the Discord would be one of the most reliable ways to immediately reach out, and the customer service is quick, fast, and responsive. So save yourself some money this month. I'll leave the link down below in the description box or the pinned comment in the comment section. Thanks again for sponsoring this video, LD Shop. Now let's get back to it. Starting off with the introduction, Ciaconna. I think we can all unanimously agree there was no better character to kick us off into 2.2 than to do it with a lovely elven, thick thighs, save lives bard. I can appreciate that. Send a "Giat them thighs." Oh, I like these angles. Yo, the camera setting right there, bro. That was clean.
Itself holds no emotion. It's the heart that grants it meaning. So, dear listener, tell
Chat,
me,
how's that audio?
what feelings did my piece evoke in you?
How's that audio, chat? Oh my God, she looks good, bro. Power Crept Venti, by the way, rip that drunken bard, boys. And her eyes, oh my God. I think those are my favorite eyes in Wuthering Waves. I love them. It kind of remind me of like a more tamed winged version of a Zapdos bird inside of her eyes. They also have this green hue behind them, which kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VII's Geostigma virus. I don't know. I like them a lot. But apart from the eye candy, which by the way, I think eye candy is very important in this genre, but also important in anime. I find myself having a difficult time getting into an anime when there's no eye candy to look at. It's very important. But apart from that, the constant shift of camera angles, the facial expressions, the music to set the tone, and as well as the voice acting. Speaking of which, Mel Rover had a lot of lines in 2.2. Nuclear W. Yeah, all of those things immediately set my expectations and kind of was a bit of a relief of knowing I'd have a good presentation experience with 2.2 at the bare minimum. And that was nice. But the dialogue was not wasted either. Off rip, soon as you meet her, she lets you know I was sent here by Carlotta. And there's a bit of a character development dialogue, so you get to know what kind of person and personality she has. But other than that, it's established off rip that y'all are there to figure out what's going on with the Sentinel of Raguna, or Renacida, I guess is the correct terminology. Yeah, because there's a lot of overlapping information, right? The freaking guy from the church Saturday, he's telling you that the Blessed Maiden you met is actually the Resonator of the Trinodian and not Sentinel, I think. And then everyone else is like, no, that's the freaking Resonator of the Sentinel, bro, sleep. And so you're trying to basically find this girl again, the girl you met, Cartethyia, at the end of 2.0, so that you can question her and go, okay, what's the score here? Because that conversation ended abruptly and a bit too soon because Carlotta was cock blocking. You know, Carlotta a little jealous. Going back to the Bard conversation, they introduce her abilities, her forte, in the most beautiful way. She explains to you that as long as you're able to describe that event and how it occurred, she can play a melody to send you back into time to relive that moment again. That was so cool to me. Oh, so there's our tacit mark.
That should do it.
Damn. You know what? She's like a combination of Sword Art Online and Final Fantasy. I could totally see her being in Final Fantasy 14 too. Power crap venti, boys. So once we arrive in the past, something interesting happens. The way her ability is supposed to function is you're just going to watch the same thing that already happened happen again, and you just try to extrapolate from that some details that are important. But what ends up occurring is you actually meet the spiritual form, I guess, if you will, of Cartethyia in real time back in the past, and you just talk to her herself. As you talk with her, you're trying to fill in the blanks of the plot. All she remembers is her name's Fleur-Delis, when it was given to her, and that she fought some important battle a long time ago. This is the conversation that's occurring right now. But what I find impressive about Wuthering Waves 2.2 is we're already in the meat and potatoes of the plot. No dialogue is being wasted. Every single conversation that's occurring 20 minutes into the story is very meaningful and relevant to the story. It's not a lot of yapping. But continuing on, Cartethyia then informs you that her real body's trapped inside of a Sonoro sphere above the sky that no one can enter. And if you try to enter it, it's gonna fall down and destroy Raguna. Bit of a severe danger there, but a danger nonetheless that I can appreciate. She does inform you that one person tried to enter, and she describes this one person as a deep sea jellyfish. And there comes the entrance of Cantarella, our beautiful, good lord, that woman is sexy. We'll save that conversation for another time. Anyways, after she ends up explaining that to you, you then promise to find this person so that you can figure out a way to get into that sphere and have a real conversation, and once again, disclose all the other important details that are occurring inside of the story. And so we exit the dream and we go back to the Bard, of course, because the Bard's the one that sent us there in the first place. So we kind of like wake up. Now, when we wake up to Ciaconna, once again, facial expressions are popping, music uplifting, camera angles, gorgeous freaking Bard in front of you, energetic music, heartfelt. This is such a good, not only change of pace from the serious tone of the conversation you were having with Cartethyia, but once again, it's showing you that Kudo Games is trying to give you a actual banger presentation of a story experience. Continuing on, you end up telling Ciaconna about the conversation you had with Cartethyia about needing to meet Cantarella. That's a lot of C's, more than you had in high school. Shots fired, I don't know where they were sent from. Probably some bad hoes I'm about to take the hint from. Okay, that's a cringy Drake line. Let's get back on topic here. Ciaconna then goes, whoa, Cantarella, that bitch is crazy. Batshit, might I add. Let me explain to you her past. There's a family tradition in the Phasaelis family that's quite nefarious. I heard she poisoned her mother. Don't trust her. I like this. It sets up a melodramatic, I guess, entrance for Cantarella, so that when you meet her, it's a bit more grandeur, a bit more like, ooh, ah, right? But at the end of the day, I'm him, the main protag, almighty and powerful, bro, gathering wives. I'm not worried about none of that. It is good to hear, though, because it kind of like relates to humanity as a sense, right? Humans love to gossip, and it sets up this kind of like concern in your mind of, is she actually wicked or is she actually good? Are the rumors true partially or fully? It's kind of cool, right? But we all know in the Wuthering Waves and in these gacha games in particular, they're always going to end up turning these people into goody two-shoe characters for the most part. And that's usually for me a bit of a letdown, because I want somebody who came from such a nefarious background to actually be morbid, to be quite wicked and evil. Unfortunately, usually those expectations aren't met in these games. Getting back on topic, as we're having this conversation, a butler pops up, and brother has a great VA. And my first thought here is, why isn't this guy a 4-star character that can be playable down the line? This is a missed opportunity from Kudo Games. You already lack 4-star characters. He informs us that Cantarella wants us to come and meet her. And I tell her that I'm gonna come indeed. I really wish that Kudo Games would use some of these lesser role characters as an opportunity to introduce a new 4-star character in a game that lacks 4-star characters. So that was my nitpick right there. I remember griping on that inside of the story. Okay, so this next part is pretty important. It's Cantarella. Yeah, this is where you finally meet her. You go inside of this freaking, first of all, multi-billion-dollar mansion. That shit is hardly a mansion, bro. It's almost like a goddamn theme park, a mall, if you will. Michael Jackson might be in there somewhere. But when you go in there, you finally meet her.
One moment, please. I shall inform milady of your arrival.
That won't be necessary.
Nah, they not about to give her this grandeur ass
Our
entrance.
honored guest waiting would be most improper.
You know what's funny, chat? When you don't have the character, it makes their presence in the story so much more powerful. When you don't own them, right? Because like, this is the first time I'm seeing her. I don't own her ass, and so it makes her presence more potent, bro.
Especially when it was I who extended the invitation.
Yeah. Bro, that is
Cantarella
insane,
Phasalia,
bro.
36th matriarch of the Phasalia family.
Holy.
I'm pleased to make your acquaintance.
Bro, that's so crazy, dog. Damn. Now listen, guys, I get it. Cantarella, apart from her insanely voluptuous bosom, her pristine etiquette, her drop-dead gorgeous body, her aura maxing vibes that she gives off, I trust me, I understand. Like, in fact, now that I'm saying that out loud, it is a absolute negative that she looks so damn good. You want to know why? Because some of the most rich and robust lore, fill in the blank plots, concepts, and story elements are all tied to her, and they're all shared while her fine ass is on the screen with those two big plots sitting there in between your eyeballs. Which, by the way, we're gonna go ahead and list off all of the elements of the story deemed significant that you learn merely by being with Cantarella. It's almost like she knows too much at this particular point in the story. Starting off with element number 1, the Threnodian. You learn how its power functions by talking to Cantarella. She tells you that it can assimilate and merge with other beings. She also explains to you how it's, in somewhat way, making up my own words here, a false prophet. It's able to pollute and corrupt your mind, in fact, an entire society's mind, causing that society to subscribe to a false spiritual belief and collapse, right? Destroy each other from inside out because they're just listening to this, honestly, the devil, trying to tell them how they should live their lives. That's pretty much the Threnodian, and it's explained to you by Cantarella. She also tells you about the Sentinel and how its power functions, that it's able to manipulate time and space. She also tells you about Turvin, one of the 3 swords that is used to get to the Sonoro sphere in the sky. And this sword is owned by her inside of her chambers. She tells you that the sword can be used to resonate with the Sentinel. I mean, like the amount of information this woman has, I'm just like, dear God. What the, bro, is she the main character? Which, by the way, side tangent, pulling the sword out of the stone. Come on, Come on, guys. That's Zelda. That's a little bit of Zelda inspiration. All right. In fact, there's a number of elements in this story that go back to a Zelda inspiration here. But I do admire how they kind of use it as a canvas and deviate with it with their own like ideas and plots. It's not a one-to-one, and please don't like take away the credit from the game like that, because it's really not a one-to-one. Anyways, continuing on, you also learn through her that she wants to save the Sentinel. In fact, she takes you to a statue inside of her chambers that is the true form of the Sentinel that is not corrupted by the Threnodian, which was fascinating because that in and of itself kind of tells you like, oh shit, hold on. It gives you like a sense of belief in her after that, because you're like, okay, well, statue's right there inside of her chamber. She can't be lying. I have this like tendency when I'm listening to people, I'm very like pessimistic and skeptical. And so there's certain elements of the story that need to be unveiled to me for me to be like, okay, she's telling the truth. And that was one of them for me personally. One of the final elements of this tidbit is she explains to you how her family held this traditional thing where they would have the strongest women come up to the turban sword overclocked, attempting to like resonate with it or create like memory fragments, and that she was one of them, which kind of goes down the line. When we get to further down the line, that comes back into play, which is it's very significant too. After all of that information being unpacked, you then attempt to go to the Sonoro sphere with her with the Turvine sword and get inside of that chamber so that you can meet the real Cartethyia. But before then, you enter an absolute cinema scene where you're going through this beautiful little journey, and it's eye candy visuals in terms of world design, world building, and setting. Oh, it's great.
Rivers eventually converge into the same ocean. If a goal is mutual, then it's only a matter of time before they meet.
Dude, this looks insane, Chad. I'm gonna be honest.
Our choices and our will have led us to this situation, not the wishes of fate.
You are quite different from what the rumors say.
So she doesn't believe in fate.
Oh, and what rumors have you heard?
And this girl tells you some dark shit about her real past. Like, she addresses all of the rumors of what people have been saying about her, and she confirms them to be true. But what really tripped me out was how they spend it into her not being a actual like evil person or morbid or nefarious, whatever you want to call it. But she actually had a reason for poisoning her mother. And that reason was the Threnodian has been essentially dick riding her family as long as it's been alive with its mind fuck powers. It corrupting their minds and basically essentially turning them evil after a certain period of time of them resisting them. So basically think of it this: every family head would rule the Phasalia family, and it would have to deal with the Threnodian constantly trying to penetrate their mind and turn it corrupt. And eventually their minds would become corrupt to the point where the family had to hold a tradition of poisoning them to put them out of their misery, and then appointing a new family head to carry on the Phasalia family's goal, which was to defeat the Threnodian. And so boiling back in, she poisoned her own mom because her mom got corrupted by the Threnodian. And so she had to put her out of her misery. She was just doing what the family said they had to do once the Threnodian, corrupted their minds, which is quite fascinating, because basically that tells you that the reason Cantarella is so deeply motivated to save the Sentinel, help out Cartethyia, and do all of this stuff is because she's tired of fighting this fucking Threnodian. This Threnodian's gonna come after her too and pollute her mind, and then she's gonna get poisoned. So it's a never-ending battle until they defeat the Threnodian. Now, my personal thoughts of all this is, first of all, it was really a treat to consume. My thing in question is, and this is probably the inherent flaw with gacha games and their live service dynamic, where the hell was everyone else while this was occurring? These are such significant elements of the Rina Sita story, not just Cantarella's story. I feel like Carlotta, Zani, Brant, all these other characters that exist and are significant, they're just nowhere to be found while all of this is occurring. And I guess that's kind of the confines and restrictions of, like I said, the gacha live service dynamics. It's a bit like disconnected just because that's how they sell their characters. And I don't know, it just felt a bit weird that everyone else had nothing to do with so many different elements pertaining to their Sentinel. It was kind of odd. Now, this next part where we enter the Sonoro sphere and meet Cartethyia is an interesting part to talk about. First of all, let's talk about the positive. Easily, uncontested, some of the most drop dead gorgeous scenery, visuals, world building I have ever seen. Not just in Gacha gaming, but in AAA gaming. They outdid themselves just as much as they did with 2.0. Bro, I'm not kidding. There's just so many beautiful, stunning visuals inside of this new area. Dude, wow, man. Holy shit. Look at that, chat. That's pretty crazy, man. God damn, this place looks insane, bro. Jesus. Look at the sun back there and everything, bro. Dude, I'll be honest. Brightness all the way down is just the meta. Okay. Contrast all the way up. Bro. Jesus. Chat, what the fuck is this, bro? Oh, this looks so good, man.
Thus, I've been limited in the areas I can explore. All I can do is sit here, lost in thought.
What the
trying to figure out who I
hell,
am.
man?
Are you afraid of knowing the answer?
Jeez.
We'll be arriving at the first water rise soon. A few details, if you don't mind.
My God.
Feeling nervous?
Wow. Screenshot again.
Of course.
Jesus, bro. Like, just look at this shit, man. I keep getting stun locked by visuals. God damn, bro. Chad, I know I'm yapping about it, but this shit looks so good, man. That's crazy, dog. Jesus, man. Bro, AAA games don't even look this good, bro. This shit is insane. Chat. What the bro? Oh my God. Holy. Bro, what is that? This place is insane. And the lighting and shell shaded between shadow and like illumination on the faces of the characters. God damn, I was speechless. I got stun locked 95 times during this part of the playthrough of 2.2. It was just too damn good. It was too damn cinema, man. So yeah, that off rip peak. However, I find it quite consistent in many games. Gacha's more so though. Some games do it good. God of War is a game that did it really fucking good. But in gacha games in particular, they have a hard time balancing between gameplay, exploration, puzzles, and still staying on track with story delivery or pacing delivery. And this is where the pacing for me started to collapse a bit. But I feel like it's a bit of an inherent thing that's going to occur because once again, you're taking in all these breathtaking visuals, you're doing these puzzles, you're doing some combat, and then you're also trying to keep up with the jargons in the story that's still occurring here and there. And so like it feels a bit draggy at this point trying to keep up with everything. But that said, it's still really freaking good, man. Not to mention all the hot chicks, right? You see Cantarella fine ass, Cartethyia gorgeous ass. You're running into all of these things, and it's a real distracting thing, especially when you have ADHD like me. That said, though, the story still maintained relatively good and a solid pace. I will say though, one of the most annoying things about this entire part was playing with the fucking Spectral Rover the entire time. Now you did get to play with Cantarella like a little bit here and there, but the Spectral Rover, I don't know who decided that you had to play with. This is the thing. I love Spectral Rover. I do. But I don't love Spectral Rover by them fucking self. God, let me play with whatever I want to play with, bro. Like, holy moly, that was insane. And that deducted from my overall experience, if I'm being honest. Anyways, getting back to the overall plot and story development, once you're in the Sonoro sphere, the whole entire goal is to put the swords inside of the stones. It's really some Zelda Triforce shit, to be honest. And each time you put a sword in the stone, Cartethyia gets a piece of her memory back and a bit of herself back, basically. And of course, as all of this is happening, you're answering the important questions to the story that were intentionally left in obscurity, such as the connection between Fleur-de-Lis and Cartethyia, the Sentinel/Imperator versus the Threnodian, the merge, where the whereabouts are, as well as the secret role of Cantarella in all of this. It becomes one full-fledged picture up here in this Sonoro sphere as her memories return to her, Cartethyia. At this particular point, I want to talk to you guys about two completely different parts of the Wuthering Waves 2.2 story from this point onward. Presentation versus actual story writing. Let's talk about the presentation. The presentation is the reason why this part onward is absolute cinema in peak, 9 out of 10 bare minimum. The way they execute everything from this part in terms of a visual experience is very Marvel-esque. When you're watching it, you're like, God damn, this is so cool, man, and heartfelt and impactful, not because of the writing, but because of how it's delivered. Cartethyia, somebody you love, through what they're showing you and how sincere she is and the little flirtatious moments. They do a great job capturing the Gacha player's heart. And then at the end of the day, when you're a little ignorant as to how the relationship between Cartethyia and Fleur-de-Lis really is, it makes it even more impactful because you think of them, you're viewing them as two completely separate people. And you're like, oh no, Cartethyia, right? Like, it's so cinema. And then Fleur-de-Lis comes through, freaking all maximum aura, beautiful, drop dead gorgeous. Those knockers are insane. You fight her, you go through the cinematic fight where you're using Arrow Rover, Havoc Rover, and Spectro Rover. Like, it's just a blast. It's like, it's an entire roller coaster theme park of a ride, isn't it? It's a thrill. And then after all of that, of course, you know, Wuthering Waves and Gacha games, and they like to pump fake you on somebody getting ready to die. I always go, yeah, I'll believe it when I actually really see it. Well, I remember during the story, I was actually like, I'm going to wait and see if she actually died. Because y'all know how these Gacha games be. And sure enough, boys, we knew how that was going to turn out, right? Doesn't matter, though, because how they executed it when bro, like, catches her right before she falls in the water, flies off. That shit was cool. I actually loved it. And I'm somebody who always gets mad when they can't follow through. I guess maybe a part of me is also getting to that point where I've just learned to accept Gacha game stories just ain't killing nobody, bro. They just not. And so I kind of like accept that portion and I'm expecting the superhero thing to occur. I just want to make sure they execute it perfectly. And they did, right? So from a presentation standpoint, that's why everybody loved it. They did a good job delivering it. And the Sentinel sacrifices itself to save Cartethyia, which I think was also admirable, pretty cool. And you didn't connect with the Sentinel on a deep, intimate level. So it's a sacrifice that the Gacha player is willing to accept. I can understand how they think, because they cannot kill somebody that people are attached to. These people lose their fucking marbles over it for whatever reason. Now that that's out the way, the writing of this story, from once you get to the Sonoro sphere and onward, where you start to actually unveil everything and the fill in the blanks of why shit happened the way it happened. Oh, that was just a bunch of confusing, like, running around in circles. It's just like they're doing the most just to create the superhero moment. Because guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I went and read all of it. I spent hours trying to understand it on a profound level just to present it to people in a palatable manner. And I was just like, yeah, nah, that shit is ass. And anybody who's honest with themselves will acknowledge it. I promise. It's like Fleur-de-Lis is the resonator of the Threnodian. The Threnodian created Fleur-de-Lis in the midst of battling the Sentinel and merging with the Sentinel. How did she merge with the Sentinel, the Threnodian? Well, it's just what it's capable of doing. It's just how it happens. And then the Sentinel allows the Threnodian to assimilate with it. And that's all in an effort to better understand a weakness of the Threnodian, which it ended up unveiling that the Threnodian can be bound by an human resonator. While all this is happening, Fleur-de-Lis has a fragmented version of her consciousness that has a will to live. And so this splits off from Fleur-de-Lis. That's Cartethyia. Cartethyia escapes the corruption of the Threnodian. And so now she's able to meet you guys later on and I guess explain this to you, but with amnesia. Cantarella is the appointed resonator of the Sentinel. Why? Because the Sentinel has a divine law where it can only have one resonator at a time. Since it's merged with the Threnodian, that one resonator is actually Fleur-de-Lis. So if it tries to appoint a new resonator, now it has 2, which breaks the divine law, which causes this destruction, like this oblivion that can't be escaped. And that oblivion would not only send the Sentinel to the Shadow Realm, but also the Threnodian and Fleur-de-Lis. And so it's kind of like a self-destruct tactic. Appoint a new resonator just to obliterate all 3 of us. That was the role of Cantarella. Cantarella learns this and goes, no, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do instead is I'm going to give this power right back to you to give you a moment to compel Fleur-de-Lis to strike down the Sentinel and the Threnodian, since we're merged together. And that's going to create another moment to buy us some time. It's just like, I was listening to all of this. I was picking up what they were putting down. I really was. And I was just like, yeah, nah, that's not it. It wasn't it, boys, okay? So this is the power of presentation. When you present a story as beautiful as they presented it in Wuthering Waves 2.2, who gives a fuck if the writing don't really make much sense? Just execute it the way y'all executed it, and everybody gonna be like, oh, hell yeah, bro, that was cool. And guys, I shit you not, that is my review of Wuthering Waves 2.2 story. I think it was like dead ass God tier writing from the Cantarella arc before you go into the Sonoro sphere, from the Bard explaining to you that Cantarella's kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, setting that exposition up to meet her. I think a lot of the elements were actually really good writing, but right when you get up to the Sonoro sphere and learn how everything happened, writing wise, presentation wise, cinema. Overall, I give this a 2.2 Wuthering Waves Gacha Story a 9 out of 10. It was a very enjoyable experience. I had a great time, 6 hours streaming, sometimes conversing with my chat, other times locking the hell in. I enjoyed it. So that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys on the next one.